Now see these pictures and tell me the diagnosis. These are two types of abdominal wall defects. If you see the first diagram, here what you can see, here you can see that this is the umbilical cord and there is herniation of bowel, but what else you can notice that the bowel is covered. So in the first diagram, there is herniation of bowel, but it is covered by two layers. The outer layer is known as amnion and the inner layer, this is peritoneum. So what is the name of this condition? The first condition is known as omphalocele, also known as exomphalos. So in omphalocele or exomphalos, what you have noticed that there is herniation of bowel, but this is covered by two layers. Outermost is amnion and innermost is peritoneum. If you see the second condition, it is known as gastroschisis. And what happens in gastroschisis? There is splitting of abdominal wall. Now can you see, this is what umbilical cord. So you can see this is intact. This is the umbilical cord. On the right side of umbilical cord, means in the right abdominal wall, there is splitting. And because of this splitting, what you can see that there is herniation of bowel and this bowel is exposed. Clear? So see this picture. This is a picture of omphalocele, also known as exomphalos, and here you can see the exposed bowel because of splitting in the right side of abdominal wall, means it is located on the right side of umbilical cord. So first is omphalocele, second is gastroschisis. These are the image based questions being asked continuously from the last 3-4 years. So we are going to discuss in detail the omphalocele and gastroschisis. This is gastroschisis. Clear? So what happens in omphalocele or exomphalos? Here, intestine fails to return. Intestine fails to return to intra-abdominal cavity. It fails to return to intra-abdominal cavity and it is covered by two layers. What are those two layers? It is covered, so bowel is covered by two layers. The outermost is amnion and the inner layer is peritoneum. So it is covered by these two layers. Okay. Whenever the defect is small, there is herniation of only small intestine, and whenever there is large defect, apart from small intestine, there can be herniation of liver also. So if these patients are having small defects, in small defects, there is only herniation of small intestine, and if there is large defect, then there is herniation of small intestine and other organs like liver. Now see, this topic is also asked in pediatrics, and the question that omphalocele is associated with trisomies. Which trisomies? Trisomies 13, 18 and 21. So this is important question. It is associated with trisomy 13, 18, 21. The second important point which is frequently asked, that this omphalocele or this condition is associated with congenital malformations. And what is the most common type of congenital malformation seen? So here the most common type of congenital malformation is cardiovascular, followed by musculoskeletal, followed by gastrointestinal, followed by genitourinary. Okay, so it is associated with congenital malformations. You have to remember congenital malformations, and the most common congenital malformation is cardiovascular, followed by musculoskeletal, followed by gastrointestinal, followed by genitourinary. Okay, so how to remember? CM Gigu. It is the CM Gigu. Clear? Cardiovascular, followed by musculoskeletal, followed by gastrointestinal, followed by genitourinary. Now see the question related to congenital malformations, that what is the most common cause of death in patients of omphalocele, and it is the congenital malformations. So because of association with congenital malformation, the prognosis is poor in omphalocele as compared to gastroschisis. Okay, so the problem, this congenital malformation, it's the most common cause of death, and because of association of these congenital malformations, these patients have poor prognosis. When we were discussing the Wilms tumor, we discussed that there is one variant which is associated with omphalocele. And what's that variant? It's the Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome. What are the other manifestations in Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome? There is hemihypertrophy, there is visceromegaly, there is macroglossia, omphalocele, and hepatoblastoma. So what is the other condition with which it is associated? It is associated with Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome. Clear? These are the important points related to omphalocele. Now see the gastroschisis. So in gastroschisis, there is splitting of abdominal wall on right side with herniation of bowel. Okay, and what kind of, this bowel is covered or exposed? So this bowel is exposed, and since this bowel is exposed, what's the problem? Here the bowel is thickened, matted, and edematous. So because it is exposed, what's the problem? The bowel is thickened, it's matted and edematous. Clear? And there is one association with gastroschisis, that it is associated with intestinal atresia. So what's the association? It is associated with intestinal atresia. Otherwise, the congenital malformations are not seen. So here it is not associated with any other congenital malformation. So what are the risk factors? If mother has history of intake of alcohol, or there is history of smoking, history of intake of aspirin, brufen, pseudoephedrine, so all these are going to increase the risk. Second, if the age of mother is less than 20 years, it also increases the risk. So what are the risk factors? Risk factors for gastroschisis. Yes, so if there is intake of alcohol, female patient, or the mother was a smoker, or there was intake of aspirin or brufen, or intake of pseudoephedrine, if there is history of intake of pseudoephedrine. Clear? So these are the risk factors. How to remember is very easy. The mnemonic is ASAP, as soon as possible. Alcohol, smoking, aspirin, pseudoephedrine. Another risk factors which we discussed, that if the age of mother is less than 20 years, yes, this is also a risk for gastroschisis. Now if you see the picture, in gastroschisis the bowel is exposed. So it gives impression that if the bowel is exposed, there is increased risk of complications, so prognosis must be poor. But what's the good thing? That this is generally not associated with congenital malformations which were responsible for death in omphalocele. So if we are going to compare the prognosis with omphalocele, relatively it is better. So in gastroschisis, relatively prognosis is better. So here prognosis is better. So prognosis, it's relatively better as compared to omphalocele.